What's up? What's up? Coming to you live from Philadelphia, PA, aka Title Town, USA. Rocking out with Amina and Trey, the returning Trey. We are out here today on this humid second day of June, as always. Just doing our thing for real, for real. And it's amazing. But I'm gonna let Trey reintroduce yourself. Go ahead and reintroduce yourself, Trey.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I've been in it on and off the podcast, but I'll be on for a little bit today, and I got to go to work. But hopefully, we can get in. I get in my little hot takes at the very least. So good to be back on the podcast. Uh, yeah.
Boo work, stay forever, side dog. Go ahead, Amina.
Hi, everyone. This is Amina on this very humid Saturday in Philadelphia.
All right, so y'all know how we start this show. We start this off with our crossover hot takes. And before we go, because like Trey said, he gotta go soon, so I want to get his thoughts on because I think everybody said their thoughts except for you and Andre. So what do you think about this whole? We're going to throw a Kyler curveball, and then we'll get back to the top. What do you think about sports betting becoming legal, Trey?
Um, I, I mean, we already know that people are doing it legally, right? Illegally. Um, so it's not like it wasn't already happening. Now it's just legal. So it's similar in many ways to what marijuana was, but it's kind of it's a flipped situation. Um, but it's like I don't gamble. I don't really encourage people to gamble, but if people want to bet on sports games, hey, I mean, like I said, it's already been happening for years. Um, the only problem with sports betting, especially in professional sports, is when it gets shady, and then you have people betting on games, and so people have incentives to do. Even coaches and front office people have incentives to do things that are illegal, even if sports betting is legal, like shaving points and stuff like that. Um, but I mean, I, I I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. But it's legal now, so
All right. So to our second question, which is technically our first question, but kind of a curveball. Our reaction to Drew Brees' national anthem protest comments. Now, unfortunately, with the anger, not unfortunately, but fortunately for Drew Brees, during in our furor and anger over the new policy in the NFL, I missed the fact that he had released some comments on the national anthem, and he basically not to do the quote because obviously I believe Trey and Amina have done their due diligence, but I'll just say the quote right here. One of them, one of Drew Brees' quotes, the great Drew Brees, was, that protesting during the national anthem has become too divisive, and the national anthem is a great unifier, and they basically the old line of they should find some other time to protest. So that was one of the quotes. That was one of the gems from the Dan Patrick show from last week. So react to that and the other stuff that we've heard from Drew Brees. So go ahead. The matter of fact, because Trey got to go. So go ahead, Trey. Start. You can start. Trey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Well, what was your direct question? I didn't.
Reaction to
I
what
was
Drew Brees said about the national anthem protest. Did you hear about this? Leader?
no. Actually, I've been in the corner. You know, I ain't been really paying attention much lately.
Oh, okay.
Um, what
So,
did
so basically, sorry, that's but basically what he said was one of the jibs he said was this fire and the players should find some other time to protest the union. But that's one of the quotes he said from last week. So go ahead and react to that.
Oh, okay. I mean, you know, players have. I mean, players have they have a right to their opinion. I mean, whether you disagree. I mean, I can't really speak on that right now because I just start rambling about Drew Brees. But I mean, players have a right to their opinion, and we've said it on the podcast time and time again. You know, in reference to the national anthem and to how it may or may not disrespect soldiers. I mean, this military and the army, they fight for our right to have free speech and to do certain things, and whether or not that particular soldier agrees or not with our opinion, that's they fight for that right for us, right? So some people have their own. I mean, people have their opinion, and they can, you know, and I do think you we should make a distinction between something, or not necessarily make it distinguish, but you need to make it. It needs to be made clear that like there's a difference between um, opinion and facts, and that somebody can have an opinion on something, but the facts are still facts. And as far as the national anthem goes, the fact is that multiple players have kneeled, and they're not protesting in the national anthem itself. They're protesting police brutality and a number of other different things. And so the whole national anthem thing, the rule that they made up, uh, I mean, it's to me it's nonsense. But I mean, players have their opinions and they can have their opinions.
Amina, Amina, you there?
You can hear
Oh,
you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
I answer.
Yeah, you're going in and out. I'll, oh, there you go. Yeah, I can hear you
I
now.
said, I said, what question do you want me to answer?
Oh, the Drew Brees national anthem thing.
Already. I be for doing state. Yeah, yeah, he was born and raised Texas, and he expected based on that. Um, player, which is how degree no universal political ever existed up until now.
done the same, the exact same way. No, you have sit-ins, you have boycotts, you have financial, you have all sorts of means to protest. You can't tell somebody they should their their mind. It's not Korea. It's not China. This is parts of Russia. This is supposed to be the grand old USA. And in the grand old USA, how it works is you want to protest, you can do it as long as you peaceably assemble. And that's what players are doing. They're peacefully assembling, and they're not causing any harm, hurt, or destruction to anyone. So I don't know what's up with Drew Brees. It just goes obvious, especially within the last few weeks. It's just like wow, people do anything for attention. Like, my thing is, if you support this movement that Colin Kaepernick started 2 years ago, just keep how you feel about it to yourself. Nobody needs to know that you're a hater because then it comes out, and then you have a bunch of people coming at you. So Drew Brees, he should have just kept his mouth shut because it was shady. Now, if he had came out and said he supports, well, by all means, but don't start controversy where there is no controversy. Don't start that. This movement is not about the flag. Colin Kaepernick has said it. Even before Colin Kaepernick started his movement, he ran it by U.S. veterans, and they even support the movement. So they even know that it's not about the flag. Over the last 2 years, on a regular basis, any status, post, or video I've seen about Colin Kaepernick, his movement, the NFL, whatever, I've seen veterans all showing support for this movement. It's not about the flag, and they know that. But why is it taking non-veterans to not understand that? Where is the comprehension? Where is the remedial elementary school? I don't get it. It's about social injustices against blacks and other people of color at law enforcement. That's what it's about. So I gather it that Drew Brees, born and raised in Texas, is for police brutality. And I haven't seen him say anything much about anything that's happened with black folks concerning the police, especially in the last several years since we've had a rush of police killings of black people. I've not seen or heard him say anything, but you got to say something about Colin Kaepernick's movement, though. Okay. Uh-uh. It's not about the flag, people. Even the veterans will tell you. All the veterans on Facebook, they're supporting this movement. I've not seen one that's against it. So if that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what will or what may, but it's not about the flag. It is about just strictly police brutality. Drew Brees, you put your foot in a path that you had no business in. You could have just kept your mouth shut. Nobody had to know how you felt about being in disagreement about this movement or anything. But because you disagree with this movement, I really can't ride with you. See, I never really liked your team anyway, the Saints, or what we call them. But this is even more reason why the South is never going to be any more than it's always been, the South. You can have that because that stuff up that you do, it don't fly up here up north. But that's what I gotta say about Drew Brees. Next time, just keep your feelings to yourself so you won't get backlash, and you'll be all right.
All right, let me just say this right now, Mina. news because we were talking off air this week about when I've discovered these comments over this weekend. How angry I was, not because of who it is, because I'm sure a lot of players. This is what I think happens with this, right? I think what happens is, and I ran into this because the NFL article that I wrote, I've gotten some feedback on it, and some people have thought the way that I wrote the article about the NFL's policy last week came off a little racist, came off a little biased. Some people have that opinion. So what I think happens with this is, and what I found that my thing is, people let their love of country and their militaristic sentimentality get over human rights and human decency. And so here's what I mean by that, right? See, a lot of times I feel people let their love of the military and their love of country blind them to things that are right in front of their face. Now, we know that the right to vote for African Americans, let me give you a basic example, right? There are people that are of this dumb belief that African Americans have been able to vote and have been voting Democrat for 100 years. And the right to vote for African Americans didn't come until the 60s. Everybody knows this if you pick up a book, right? This is what I mean. When it comes to African American issues, people let their sentimentality for the country, sentimentality for military, sentimentality for police, they let everything blind them to what's right in front of their face. It doesn't matter how many studies come out, how many studies about how much police have bias against African Americans, how much numbers come out about over policing in African American communities, how much stats come out about criminal activities and how black people and white people can commit the same crime, but the black person will serve more time. And I don't know how much stuff comes in. And my problem with Drew Brees isn't the statement that he had, because we've heard that statement before from different people in conservative circles all around since Colin Kaepernick took the knee. My concern with and this is why I told Amina, and this is why I tell anybody that will listen. My concern is with who it is. It's Drew freaking Brees, right? It's Drew Brees, a top 5 quarterback in this league, and somebody who these people will hold up and say, well, look, Drew Brees doesn't support the movement and he's a player, so they're going to hold it up because Drew Brees is already the great white hope for a lot of people. So Drew Brees is already, if you have a problem with that, add Colin W. Watson, right? Drew Brees is already a top 5 quarterback. He's already people hold up as a god. And I think when people make these dumb statements that aren't based in fact, like saying something like the national anthem is a great unifier, to who? Okay, listen, the national anthem itself, is there anything wrong with the national anthem? The original intent of the national anthem, where they had slaves in it, as Trey pointed out in the previous episode, that did include slaves, then they edited it. Is there anything wrong with the national anthem as it is constructed right now? No, not really. But like Colin Kaepernick said, the reason he protested during the national anthem is because the ideals of this country that's advertised in that song, everybody's not getting those ideals. There's a lot of people not getting those ideals. There's a lot of people who are not being treated equally in this country. Let's be real. Let's stop glorifying ideals that this country is not living up to. Like, let's stop letting our tribes, our selfishness blind us to things that are right in our face. And this is my problem with Drew Brees. First off, I think Drew Brees needs to go educate himself. I think he needs to go to a neighborhood in New Orleans and see if they feel the national anthem is a great unifier. Go to some black neighborhoods in New Orleans. Ask some of your teammates, when they're followed in stores, even though they're rich athletes. Ask some of them, do they think the national anthem is a great unifier? The next time one of your black teammates or your black friends is wrongfully accused, profile, ask them, do they think the national anthem is a great unifier? I mean, for real. Like, as a black man, when you got to think about how oh man, I gotta make sure that in these professional settings when I deal with different people that I keep my voice monotone because depending on how high my voice goes, some people get intimidated. You know what that's like, Drew? Do you? Then you can tell me when you know what that's like, when you know what different things people go through in this country, then you can say that the national anthem is a great unifier. Then you can say, can't they pick another time to protest? What better time, Drew? Let me tell you something. Listen, when when we peacefully protest in the streets, you're mad. When they block traffic, you're mad. Like you are mad. Like what time is it? What time is convenient? This is why I want people. Well, this is why I want you people that think, oh, okay, they need to protest at another time. What time is convenient for you? When they kneel before the game, you're mad. When they wear hoodies or they come out of the tunnel with hands up, don't shoot, you're mad. Like what time? What? Give us a time. You know, come up with a good time at Kyler W. Watson. Come up with a good time and we'll talk. We'll talk and see if that's convenient for us. I really don't understand. Protest is not supposed to be convenient. It's supposed to be inconvenient. You know, you think when Martin Luther King did the Montgomery bus boycott, it was convenient? What's wrong with y'all? Like, so I don't even get it. I'm gonna stop so I won't be mad. I'm gonna get off this soapbox and we're gonna move right along to the next question. And we're gonna move on. We're gonna go to our next controversial thing, and then we'll get into the sports. Well, actually, we're already into the sports, but then we'll get into something else. So Trey, your reaction to Roseanne's show getting canned? I know you said that you're out of the loop, so let me just tell you what happened. Roseanne put a tweet up. I don't know.
This is one thing I'm not out of the loop on.
Okay. All right.
So I actually heard about it. I heard about her show being canceled at work, and I didn't know I didn't know what she had actually said. I'm like, what could Roseanne have possibly said? I mean, because they had just like I think season one is is over or whatever, and they had greenlighted a season two. So I'm like, what could she have possibly said that they would have canceled the show? And one of my coworkers told me what she said, and what she said was, what she did was she called Valley Jared a monkey or an ape, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! There's like, I couldn't believe that she had actually said that. And I'm like, I was never like, I never watched the TV show Roseanne, the older version or even kind of the reboot. I never watched it. It just never appealed to me. I never even sat down to even think about watching it. But I mean, it's just disgusting comments, and then the fact that a lot of her people who were on her side are defending her. It just doesn't make any sense. And the funny thing is, I don't know if it was real. I saw somebody posted or shared a post that Tommy Lahren made, and we all know how crazy Tommy Lahren is and how absurd some of her comments are about Black Lives Matter, national anthem protests, and President Obama and President Trump. Even she, and I don't know if this is real or not, but based on what I saw, even she came out and was like, "Nah, you Roseanne, you went too far with that." But to me, it's just disgusting. And the fact that she even tried to defend herself, saying that she was on Ambien or something like that. And then Ambien apparently came out and said, nah, one of the side effects of Ambien is not being racist. So to me, it's just disgusting that she would even make a comparison, say that Valley Jared is the birth child of the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes. I mean, it's just disgusting. And the fact that anybody would try to defend her, whether she is a racist herself or not, the comments are racist. And I mean, I've seen a ton of stuff on Facebook and whatever, and it's just disgusting that anybody would try to defend that in any way, shape, or form because it is racist.
All right, my turn. Kylan's going to get something for it. Roseanne, everybody knows who she is. If whether you watched her on TV over the years or not. Me personally, I don't care about her old show or the newer one. I could never really get into it. I don't see the hype over either, but this is what happened. Roseanne Barr this week recently, she called a black woman that worked in the Obama administration an ape on Twitter early last week. It had to be like maybe almost a week ago. And it got her new show canceled. I don't even think the show was done with its first season. And I'm good, and it's good written because no one needs the Roseanne show to last for 9 years like her first show did. And I find it as a black woman myself, as myself as a black woman and all the other black women around the country and around the globe, it is a personal attack against us. We are not monkeys. We're not apes. Called the sister an ape on Twitter, APE. We're not apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, primates, lemurs, whatever you want to call it. We're not that. We don't have the.
Actually, if in the animal kingdom, we're kind of lumped under that. I mean, so you might have to eat that scientifically, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
We are not that. We are queens. We are black women. We are mothers. We are wives. We are daughters, nieces, cousins, sisters. We have families. We have feelings, and it's just disrespectful. I'm glad they got that show off the air of hers just in time because she's the type of white chick, Becky, if you will, that would have had a minstrel show on her show. I mean, she was already on there disrespecting black Muslims, some Puerto Ricans, I heard. So it was a ticking time bomb that eventually was going to implode. You can't be calling people apes in 2018 and think you're going to get away with it. And the president of ABC happens to be a black woman, and that's why I think it got canceled as soon as it did because it was an attack on herself as well. Because when you call one black woman an ape, you're calling all of us an ape. Like it's just not an individual person deal. So she got whiff of what Roseanne said, and she got that show canceled. And now Roseanne is in the. I apologize. It wasn't like that. No, you take somebody for their first impression. Who somebody shows you they are the first time is who they really are. She meant it. She tweeted it. She said it. Her name is attached to it. Then she's gonna blame what she did on some medication. I think it's Ambien she's on. And if I was the maker of Ambien, I'd be suing Roseanne for defamation of character right about now. You're not gonna be dragging my product into your mess and think you're gonna get away with it. No, we are not apes. I don't know why. I've seen the picture of the black employee that worked with in the Obama administration that she called it ape. This look like an ape? What the yo?
I mean, you're exactly right, yo. Like, I
I
have a friend.
feel
It's the
I feel
craziest
as
thing. I
though
have a black friend, right? Black friend posted something on Facebook, and he posted a picture of. This is a while ago when it was Bill Maher posted. You know, he was on his show and compared Trump to a monkey, right? And the picture it shows the picture of Trump next to an orangutan, and then it showed a picture of Valerie Jarrett, and it was making a comment. Basically, what the post was saying was, um, you know, why is the reaction different? I'm like, how you gonna be black and even and think that way? Like, if a white person calls a white person a monkey, that's one thing. But if a white person calls a black person a monkey, we got a problem. And like you said, it's not one person thing. You call one black person a monkey, you've called all black people a monkey.
yeah. And I just feel personally attacked because black women, we are unified. Like, sure, black women, we have our little situations with each other where sometimes we aren't nice to one another, but that's how sometimes it goes. But outside of that, when you look at black women in society, especially in America, over the last 500 years, we stand up for each other. We stick up for each other. We don't let people come at us. And for her to tweet that about a black sister, she's talking about me because I'm a black woman too. So I'm an 8. All right, your show is canceled. Goodbye.
First off, we got the Mad Mac back in the building. Welcome back, Matt. But I'll go and I'll let you go. We are. Ooh, it's been a crazy 2 weeks in the world of sports and entertainment, man. Last week was the NFL going bonkers. This week it's Roseanne going. It's the entertainment world. It's Roseanne, and to a lesser extent Samantha Bee. And then this will be my chance to address that one too. I want people that you think there's just this big liberal conspiracy at Hollywood or in entertainment, and you think that that you think if you're one of those people like trying to be the saying who think that Roseanne calling a black woman an ape or a monkey or had if you think that that's equivalent to Samantha Bee calling uh, Ivanka Trump or Ivanka Trump the C word because that really is the last banned word we have. So I won't say it on this show. Matt probably will, but I won't. But we have y'all. First off, like Matt and Amina, like Trey and Amina said, there's no equivalency here. Like the historical context. We all know what Roseanne meant. This is a woman that did put a Hitler costume on and claims to be Jewish. And this is even what makes it worse.
I wanted to call her the N word with the hard R, but that was too far. So she went to the next available descriptions, and she went for the primates. But she probably wanted to call her the N word with the ER.
Right, but like for this woman, hold up, she done made it so much worse for herself by keep tweeting, right? This woman now is claiming that she's Jewish, which makes what she did a long time ago, as far as putting on the Hitler thing and having cookies with Jewish people being burnt that's supposed to illustrate the Holocaust, makes that even worse. This is a woman, you want to talk about disrespecting the country? Back to the Drew Brees question. I know Matt didn't get to answer. Matt, we'll get to it after we touch we'll let you get to that after we touch on Burnergate. And I'm just amazed at the stupidity of this woman. First off, ABC gave you a chance. Your show hasn't been on, and Matt can correct me if I'm wrong, since like 96, 97. I think we're the only, Matt and I are probably the only two people right now on this podcast, because we're the elder statesmen on this podcast, who have actually seen the original show and watched the original show as kids. Like, I didn't know you were as crazy as you were, Roseanne, because we didn't have the glory that is Twitter to go back. But, and I said this to somebody at my job, I didn't know she was that crazy. I'm in my 20s, so I had no idea she was this crazy.
Where have all of you been on this Roseanne ride? Where have all of you been? Y'all should have known the fact of...
I knew.
No. You two. You didn't know that. She went as far as going to the San Diego Padres game and sing the national anthem. And oh, by the way, it is on YouTube. You can look it up. And it was terrible. It was horrible. She got booed, but yet it was supposed to be a joke, but it was not a joke. And yet she gets a pass. That's number one. Number two, if you watch the 9 seasons of Roseanne, this is Roseanne. In fact, a lot of writers have a lot of horror stories while she was on the show. This is nothing new. I'm sitting here like, well, I'm surprised. I'm not shocked. In fact, it was Sarah Gilbert's idea to revive the show, number one. Number two, Wanda Sykes was part of the producer crew. in the first, and she, of course, she left out off the joint later on. But I'm sitting here asking y'all expect to say, well, y'all knew who she was before, during, and after. The record speaks for itself. Is she an exceptional comedian? To me, she's a B plus, C minus, in my view. If you watch her stand up.
Matt, stop being nice. She's a B.
No,
She's
no,
a
no.
B. Stop
Yeah,
being
stop
nice.
being nice. Be your real self.
No. I'm sorry. All right. I think she's a C minus comedian. That's my view. She's a C minus comedian when it comes to stand up. This is in the 80s. So, yeah, the fact that she said it herself, she voted for Trump, and I did watch the show, the revamped season, and it did tackle a whole lot of not conservative stuff, but also the liberal side too. So they did a little bit of everything. Okay, and going into this, I knew this was going to be tackled. I knew this is what conservative America is thinking, or someone thinking. Or if you want to go into a mind of a Trump head, there's your example there. Or a small, very, very, very small snapshot of it. I mean, it's all in perspective. But I knew who she is, who she was. Everybody knew this. And ABC took a shot, took a chance. And yes, it was the #1 rated news show, period. And yes, when you take a high risk, high reward, okay? And that's what happened. And I've said this, even in my job, it's been a running theme for the last couple of months. You only have one job. Conduct yourself. You're getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. Just conduct yourself and don't do anything, and look what you did. So, I'm sitting here asking y'all, like, I'm sitting there listening to y'all. I'm like, look, y'all know, y'all can do the research. Look at the Twitter. You can look over YouTube. It's out. It's there, public record. So, I'm just sitting here as this, laying here going, you know what? Y'all knew this. Everybody knew this. I don't know why y'all shocked about it. I'm not, because this was bound to happen. Eventually.
Let me just say this. I'm not shocked.
And now a whole lot of companies are distancing themselves from our Hulu, Viacom,
the hell?
TV Land. All the networks are distancing themselves.
Look. If the message has not been sent,
even pull reruns for old show off now.
We know TV Land, CMT, Laugh. We know that. But again, companies from a PR standpoint has to distance themselves because that's money they're losing. They have to do it. That's like pretty much just like I want to say mandatory, but look, if I know I'm about to lose money, I gotta do what I gotta do. So that was a PR move. They had to do that. So what? No. So that's something they did the same thing for Bill Cosby. So no. But look, y'all knew who this woman was going to be. Y'all knew it. I don't want to hear it. And I'm not surprised this happened.
Let me just say this. I'm not. Matt's right. I'm not surprised that she did it. I heard about the San Diego Padres incident. I've seen the video played. So I'm not shocked. But let me tell you one thing I don't do on Twitter. One thing I make a point not to do is look up what people write, especially people I don't follow. Like, I never followed Roseanne on Twitter. So half the stuff that I knew she was a Trump supporter. That's well documented, right? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't make anything that she did any doesn't hurt what she did. This has nothing to do. Well, it has a little bit to do with 45, but this is all Roseanne. This is who Roseanne is. Roseanne was this way before 45, and she'll be this way after 45. And like I said, she just keeps digging herself a hole by keep on tweeting. Now to Disney. Disney, because Disney owns ABC. For those of you that don't know that, why in the world would you give a firebomb like this a chance again? Now, the rumor are they're going to try and continue Roseanne without Roseanne. That'll be interesting to see. I might actually watch the show now, but I just got to tell y'all, like, I've watched, like Matt, like I said, the original show. I didn't bother watching the reboot because once I found out what Roseanne was, I had no interest in supporting that. Didn't care that Wanda Sykes was a producer. Didn't care that they tried to do everything to get everybody involved by giving her a black granddaughter. Didn't care about that. Didn't care about anything that they did. They could have had Barack Obama himself show up at that show, and I still wouldn't have watched it. Didn't care what they did to try to get me involved in watching that show, right? Didn't care. Had nothing to do with giving her ratings. Didn't want to give her ratings, right? So somebody that never attributed to her being the number one show. Let me just tell y'all something. Disney. I hope more companies learn this. Stop giving people that are likely to screw it up. Stop giving people that are likely to screw things up chances. Stop it. Stop giving people chances. Stop giving these people air. I mean, listen, lost in all this is we got 8 white supremacists trying to run for office. We ain't going to touch on that, but I just feel like I need to make a public service announcement. We got 8 white supremacists running for office this year. You know, Roseanne is just like 45. She's not the problem. She's just the symptom of the problem. We're in a country that thinks it's okay that 8 white supremacists are running for office. We're in a country that thought it was okay to give a firebrand like Roseanne a show because this is America. We need to give everybody a chance. I'm not saying you don't need to give people a chance, but give somebody a chance that'll actually not screw it up. Give somebody a chance who won't be like 45 and tweet at 3 a.m. and cause innocent people to lose their jobs. People that haven't worked in this industry and like since the show ended. Now, John Goodman is going to be fine, but there's a lot of people in that cast that will not be fine. You know, there's a lot of camera crew people out of work. There's a lot of writers out of work. Wanda Sykes will be fine. The person that's on The View, who Matt mentioned, who's on The View that owns the rights to the show,
Sarah Gilbert.
She'll be fine. She's on The View. You know, Wanda Sykes will be fine. She'll
actually the talk.
Wanda Sykes will be fine. She'll write something else, right? Roseanne will be all right. She won't get no more money off Roseanne, but she still has her Twitter. She's like 45. She's still a threat. She still has her Twitter.
Actually, Roseanne gets her money from the royalties off the syndication.
Okay. All right. Well, she's not gonna be fine.
And you don't get those royalty checks if they pull reruns off the air.
Right. So, you know, like, I feel sorry for the cast and crew. That's who I feel sorry for. I feel sorry for the people who like the show. I don't know why you like the show, but you like the show. You know, who am I to judge you? You like the show. You liked what it was doing. Maybe you thought it was a window in the 45 and his supporters. You like that type of show. Hopefully they'll give you that again without, you know, the racist, anti-Semitic lead. Hopefully they'll give you the show back. Hopefully they'll bring the show back without her and just call it something else. Don't even call it Roseanne. Don't even separate yourself completely. Call it something else.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel had the idea. Bring the cast of everybody but Roseanne, call it Dan.
There you go.
I heard Darlene. They might kill Roseanne character off. Say she died or something or whatever.
Right. Just do something else. But let this be a lesson to any corporation that thinks they're gonna ride the 45 Trump supporter wave of trying to give us insight into these people. You know, I'm not saying that's not a good thing. All right, give them away. But like I said earlier, tell their stories without having somebody that's just as problematic as the guy that's in the White House. Just tell their stories. Just find somebody who's less controversial. Find somebody that'll make me want to watch the show. Now, listen, I don't really care. I'm not interested in Trump supporters anyway. But you know, just her turned me off. Like, and there are a lot of people like me that are all like, nah, I'm not gonna watch this show. Roseanne's too controversial. Don't care that they gave her a black granddaughter and tried to tell the show. Don't care, like Matt said, that they tackled both sides of it. Don't really care, right? Didn't really care. Still didn't watch it. There was no contribution from me about that show being number one. And there are a lot of people like me out there. So help it appeal to me. You want to tell those stories? Fine. Bring somebody that's not Roseanne back. All right, moving right along because I know Trey got to go to work and I want to get his opinions on Burnergate. All right. We just skipping around here. Should the 76ers fire Brian Colangelo? Go ahead, Trey.
See, I know a little bit about it. I haven't really read any of the tweets and so I don't necessarily know how condemning they are. What I've heard is that.
Oh, don't worry. Your friendly neighborhood sports broadcaster will help you out.
I kind of get an idea, but the tweets are about something more about Joel Embiid, but I don't know
Right.
details about who had, because I also heard that his wife was in charge of one of the burner accounts.
Right. Well, that's what they're saying. So it's all circumstantial, right? So the Athletic did a whole piece on how they had two accounts that they thought were linked to him. They did it through an AI search, and so these accounts they leaked the fact that Jalil Okafor maybe not nobody knows failed the physical. It was releasing private information on players. Now there's 5 of them, but they were releasing private information on players like Jalil Okafor, maybe or maybe not failing a physical. They were talking about Joel Embiid and riding Ben Simmons a little too much, defaming Sam Hinkie, and defending him a lot, defended his decisions, defended the Jalil Okafor trade, defended the Nerlens Noel trade, stuff like that. So go ahead on your opinion.
Okay, so with that knowledge, because this, and I've noticed this is one of the questions, so I'll only touch on it. This could potentially affect free agency and whether free agents would like to come, because if they know that there's somebody in the front office that is willing to make a burner account and talk bad about the players, I don't want to come there, right? So I think, but that all depends on whether or not players are aware of that, right? I mean, a lot of players are not aware of things that, like, the one they're focused on what goes on the court, and for the most part, they don't really pay attention to what goes on off the court, in the media and the news and that type of thing. But with something like this, I think a lot of the players are aware of it, and I think it's going to create tension in the locker room, because you'll have the people who think it's that it's not true, that it's fake, or that that he wasn't in charge of the accounts, or somebody's framing him, and then you'll have the other people who are like, I think it is him because he said this to me once, and or I heard him, or I heard him say this about Joel Embiid, or whatever the case may be. So it creates tension in the locker room. But if it does turn out, I mean, who knows? It could turn out that none of this is true, right? And I mean that the accounts exist, but it could turn out that he had nothing to do with the accounts. Maybe he had created a burner account and got hacked, whatever. But yeah, so I mean, if it turns out that all this is true and that he really had a burner account or multiple burner accounts and was, saying bad stuff about Joel Embiid and other players, then yeah, unfortunately, you got to fire him, because You just don't want that in your locker room, right? You gotta set a, and it's unfortunate, but you gotta set a standard early on. Like we don't have that's not how we do things here, right? We don't talk bad about our players. We don't throw our players under the bus. Um, and we sure enough don't make burner accounts so we can do it. So I mean that's my opinion on that. And I guess we'll get into it. You guys will get into it later. But I guess actually I got to get inside to go to work. But so and the other thing is that affects free agency. So let's say LeBron James looks at that, and we know LeBron James is and it happened uh, 2 nights ago. We know LeBron James is not the type of person that throw his teammates under the bus, right? So if he sees at the Sixers that somebody in their front office is willing to throw their players under the bus, then maybe that turns LeBron James off, or it turns Paul George off, or it turns whoever else off from wanting to come there, because it's clear that within the organization that at least Brian Colangelo was willing to throw players under the bus. So that hurts you in free agency if you don't fire him, and it hurts you in the locker room if you don't fire him, because it just creates tension and it creates a sense of it just not good for the locker room in general, especially with a group of young guys who, for all I know, are probably all good friends and hang out a lot. And if Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and maybe some other guys are mentioned, then they're with them. And Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and the rest of these young guys are the future of the team. So if you're talking bad about them, you got to go. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on that.
All right. So yeah, Trey has to go to work. Thank you for coming through, Trey. As always, it's always good to hear from you. Go ahead. Go ahead, Matt. I knew you probably ran to go on it.
All right. This podcast is becoming "You've Only Got One Job" episode. Only one. Your job is to put the team together the best way you can to see to it you win the championship, or at least get there. Put the best people available together to play together to accomplish that goal. But when I heard about this Twitter account, and I heard about, you know, what Colangelo said about his players, management, etc., I have to say that is a fireable offense. Now, there's been reports coming out there saying that, it could be his wife or somebody else. We don't know. It's kind of muddy right now. However, my thing is simply this: it looks bad. It is so bad that even I had to find out on CBS this morning. That's how bad it's gotten. And it does, and like Trey says, it does affect free agency. It does affect the fact that, yes, the Sixers have a boatload of money. A boatload of money still. And that could be affected because of your big, gigantic mouth / Twitter fingers. Okay? Twitter, the one place where you can easily get in trouble within seconds. Look, you got LeBron going out there at the end of this stupid NBA Finals. Yes, I call it stupid, but we'll get to that in a minute. You have Kawhi Leonard out there, George out there. All these players that you need to get to the next level, and yet you open your big, fat, gigantic, bleeping mouth. You only have one job: is to put the team together and shut your face and collect the check. That's all you have to do. Put the team together, shut your face. If you feel different about your players, keep it to your damn self. No one wants to hear your opinions. No one wants to hear the fact. All we want to know is how the team is doing, what you got, your job, what you need to do, what you got to do, etc. Shut your face, do your job. That's all you have to do. But no. Oh, yeah, and stay off Twitter.
Amina, go ahead.
The bulk of what needed to be said was said, and it's just unfortunate. I'm going to add my own personal piece that these players, whether
Unfortunate and unfortunate. Stop being nice about this. It's not unfortunate. It's stupid. Do not try to don't sugarcoat this one. Don't sit here trying. Well, it's no. It's stupid. It's unfortunate. It's stupid. Unfortunate, like aching ass.
calm yourself down. Anyway, as I was saying, these young players, the Sixers is basically a young buck team. This is not a team of old folks. This is a young team, and they expect and they wanted to come to the NBA, be a part of a great organization, and to have their general manager talking shit about them on burn pages on Twitter. It's like, whoa, this is gonna change a whole lot this off season about the Sixers, especially if they let them go, which is looking like they might. And I don't know, like a whole lot of people have potential to come to the team this off season. People was looking at Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, different people. If people was looking at to come to the team to help further the organization along. But they may look at this situation and say, well, if this general manager felt comfortable talking about their young players that are inexperienced, well, what does that say about possibly me? I'll be talked about too. So it may turn a whole lot of people away from the Sixers, even though they got a lot of money to give y'all. It's just ridiculous. Like, you would do this at a time when the Sixers are in rebuild mode. Like, why? Like, the Sixers are on a high boat and have the potential to actually make it to a finals right now next season. But you do this. Like, why? But either way, he has to go, whether it was him or his wife, because, couples, spouses, whatever you want to call it, they work together, they live together, they deal with each other, they do things together, and hey, but stay off of Twitter if you're not going to use it for good. It's just messed up.
Long live Sam Hinkie. Long live Sam Hinkie.
Oh dear. Yeah.
And that's why he had 5 burner accounts right there. Because we way too in love with Sam Hinkie, even though he was a very good and shrewd deal maker. And listen, as was pointed out to me today via CNN. Yes, CNN does cover sports sometimes. This is not the first time that we may have, and let's just say it's allegedly, because all of this was done through artificial intelligence, and this was a court of law, and if Courtney was here, she'd say that it's all circumstantial, y'all. It's all circumstantial, which is true, but this is not a court of law. This is a court of public opinion, and this looks bad. Like Trey said, like Matt said, and like Amina said, this is horrible. Now, this matches a pattern of wives of famous people, especially commissioners, doing too much for their husbands, kicking up for their husbands. Now, I know that you want to stand by your man, but these first ladies of the NFL and of the 76ers, I guess is what we would call them, do too much. Turns out Roger Goodell's wife had a secret Twitter account, a burner Twitter account, if you will, where she was going around defending her husband and defending her husband's action. And let's be real, Roger Goodell gets kicked a lot by me, by Matt, by Trey, and and Amina, and by a lot of other people for his dumb decisions, right? And as Matt just showed in 76ers land, we do not, or not a lot of us. I mean, he's got a name. I liked his dad. I don't really have an opinion of him. let's be real. Let me tell y'all the history of Brian Colangelo. Maybe we should start over. Now, Matt knows, Amina knows, Sam Hinkie basically had his team ripped out from under him by the NBA. One of the dumbest decisions in this podcast wasn't founded yet by the time this happened, I believe. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. When did this happen? 2015? That they fired Sam Hinkie? That the NBA...
It's around that time.
Yeah. 2015, 2016.
No, I think it's not 15, 14.
All right, 2014, 2015, they fired Sam Hinkie because Philadelphia is a really big market. It's a top 5 market, and the Sixers were sucking. So they had to get rid of Sam Hinkie because basically back then, and Matt and Amina can attest to this, they were basically giving away 76ers tickets. I think at one point, 76ers tickets were as much as what it would cost you to go to the dollar store. I remember they used to have
$5. Watch this. And watch this. Sam Hinkie made it clear to the fan base that we were tanking. We weren't expecting to be taking this bad, but he made it clear, explicitly clear, that we were tanking, and we as a fan base accepted it. We were tanking for a reason, and the reasons here, but we wanted, I think he said it, we want to be good for seasons, not a flash in the pan. We want to be good for seasons. And by tanking and exploiting the NBA, and I think that he exploited the NBA, the lottery, and making a lot of shrewd moves to get to this point.
Right, and like I said, he's famous now because all those picks turned into Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Dario Saric, and a lot of other young talent that we have. Now, like I said, Sixers tickets used to go for like $1. That's how bad it was here, right? And like Matt said, we accepted it, but the NBA did not accept it. So they got rid of Sam Hinkie because people like Charles Barkley, who is a 76ers alumni, whether we like it or not, and was echoing a lot of the statement of, in part, what I thought, that it was taking too long, and what a lot of people thought in the NBA and NBA circles, that it was taking too long. Philadelphia used to be a basketball mecca. The Sixers used to compete all the time. Now they suck. Now nobody knows who the Sixers starting 5 is. Back then, it was very interchangeable. It was like Michael Carter Williams was like the most famous Sixer in that lineup. And Elton Brand for a little bit too. But you had all that going on, and then the NBA steps in. They pull a dictator. They tell the city of Philadelphia what you cannot do. As Philadelphians, we could all attest to this. You cannot tell us what to do and expect us to take it, right? So they fired Sam Hinkie. Essentially, they did an executive decision, had the owners of the team vote on it, got rid of Sam Hinkie, and appointed the Colangelos to take over at the Sixers, right? And so Brian Colangelo came in here, and this may come into why his wife or himself or some member of his family had 5 burner accounts and was defending him at every chance they got, was because he came here under a dictatorial decision. Nobody hired him. The NBA hired him. The Sixers did, right? So, and this was met with a lot of controversy in the city because a lot of people like Sam Hinkie, right? And because of that, he had the Twitter account. Now, long story short, if whether it's Sam Hinkie, whether it's Brian Colangelo's wife, or it's his son, or it's his grandfather, or it's Jerry Colangelo himself, like, he needs to be fired because there's no way anybody can have front office information. And we should say, I said that Jallo Okafor failed the physical. That was alleged to a burner account. Nobody knows. Nobody's been able to confirm it. I've not been able to confirm it. I know a lot of more connected sports people and Sixers beat writers have not been able to confirm that Jallo Okafor ever failed the physical in the last 2 years that the Sixers have been trying to get rid of him. Nobody's been able to confirm that. So let me just get that out the way. 'Cause I don't want nobody representing Jalil Okafor hitting me up. So let me just get that out the way, right? But and let me just say this: that's a HIPAA violation, right? Because even the NBA falls under HIPAA laws. You cannot be out here releasing health information of a former player, right? And I believe that tweet happened right after they traded. So
In
why
the
they were
nursing
still
world, you're terminated from your job.
right? So why they were still why he or his wife or his son were still slandering Jalil Okafor after he was gone is beyond me, right? So, and they were talking about Nerlens Noel, they were talking about Joel Embiid. Why you were screwing Joel Embiid after you signed him to a big contract is beyond me too. People don't think. Like Matt said, stay off Twitter. Twitter fingers have doomed a lot of people this year. Twitter fingers doomed Drake. Twitter fingers doomed Meek. Twitter fingers doomed Donald. Like, y'all need to stay off Twitter. Y'all really do. Y'all Twitter fingers are a little bit too loose for me. Like, what are you doing? There's no way he can keep his job. And for this simple fact, as Amina pointed out, they had to get that information from somewhere. So either he doesn't lock his computer, either he's talking to his wife, either he's just mentioning this stuff going on in his home. Because you don't expect me to believe that his wife or his son knew all this information without somebody telling them. Like, there's just no way. Like, these people doom themselves. Why are you dooming yourself? You're a 52-year-old man making millions of dollars, / close to billions of dollars because your family's NBA royalty. Why would you ruin your grandfather's legacy? Why would you ruin your name?
Some questions you just don't have to ask. Just don't answer because you know stupid people do stupid things. You already know this.
I do, but you're not supposed to do. Listen, as Matt said, just do your job. You only have one job. This is the One Job podcast today. That's to build a team. Get LeBron. Get. Why did I just say get LeBron? I've said on this podcast he's a want, not a need. Get a big time free agent. Get Kawhi. Get PG-13. Get somebody. Get Kemba Walker. I don't really care. Get somebody big for this team. That's your one job. And now you out here slandering and affecting free agency, and we'll get to that later. But that's it. Let's go on to our next one. Because we've been on this. It's about an hour now that we've been on our crossover hot takes, and it's time to get off them. So, do you believe Sean King's reporting that there are a lot of football players that are willing to sit out until cap is reinstated? I'll start. I'll let Matt and Amina gather their thoughts first. Let me just
gather my ass.
Let me just say this. Sean King, right? I like Sean King. The only time I really didn't like him was when he was out here slandering my Eagles and not knowing his facts. And we talked about that on this podcast, him slandering my Eagles. Matt's talked about this at length, right? I didn't like that. But outside of that, right, he's cool. He's cool people, right? I don't know him, but he's cool people, right? And, you know, he literally does get scoops. Somebody's talking to him. And now, do I believe that there are people willing to do this? And I'm kind of going to defeat my point a little bit. I believe it, but I think it's too late. Let me just say that right now. You know, I'm pro. Put Colin Kaepernick back in the league. Get Colin Kaepernick chose. Bring it back in the league. But I think it's too little, too late. I think the time for unity was when he was kneeling. I didn't like it. I've said on this podcast before how a lot of these NFL players left Colin Kaepernick in the dark, left him to be hanged by the NFL, pun intended, and now they want to cake up for Colin. Now they want to say, "Oh, we're not going to play until Colin Kaepernick gets in the game." Do you not know how replaceable you are to the NFL? I mean, listen, I like Colin Kaepernick, but has he not shown he has to sue the NFL to even basically get a job, get his money, get what he needs to have a fair chance? What do you think they're going to do to you for trying to sit out and have a plan? You know how easy it is to be released? And I don't know who these players are. They could be star players. I know Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett have said that they're willing to do it. I don't know how willing they are to do it now that one's here in this city and one's in San Fran. We'll see. But, and I'm not saying they're the players either. I don't know who the players are, right? But I think it's too little too late. I appreciate the gesture. I'm sure Colin Kaepernick appreciates the gesture. But let me just say what I think he's saying in his heart. Too little too late. The time for unity was 2016 when he was kneeling. Y'all didn't have unity now. Don't try and cake up and be like these owners trying to get famous, trying to get some unity off Colin Kaepernick's name. You waited too late. It's too little too late. I believe it. But like I said, it's too little too late. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, the fire and brimstone that Kylan Watson is putting out today. He must have ate his Wheaties today. Look. I'm going to knock two birds with one stone here, okay? Mr. Drew Brees, you saying there should be another way to protest or whatever the case may be. Sir, you couldn't be more stupid. You couldn't even more me. Look, granted, you're a very smart man, but you couldn't be you probably had a dumb white people moment. I don't know, but sir, there are these men, a la Michael Jenkins and the like, that has not only spoken up and protested by way of kneeling or raising of the fist. They've done more than this. They have went to legislature. They have went to legislatures of the state, federal, whatever level, and brought the issues up and still working towards them. You've heard a lot of players at length go to these communities, not for PR for publicity's sake. No, they do it because this is what's in their hearts. This is what's their cause because of what they've gone through. Whatever we talked about, Chris Long basically playing for free. It's because of what happened in Charlottesville, sir. This is why people are doing what you're doing, and now the National Felons League is basically telling the prisons, the inmates, you can't do this. This is what happens when you stand up to the warden. In this case, Roger Goodell. This is what happens. Now, all right, I don't think 25% of players are going to sit out the season. And like Colin said, you are replaceable. That is true. The National Football League does not have guaranteed contracts, which is true. They can release you on the drop of a hat, as long as it doesn't cut. Yeah, they can drop a drop of a hat. Now, with that being said, there is no way on God's green earth. Okay, honestly, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not going to get 25% because of Colin Kaepernick and Aaron Reed. Which brings me to my next point. What you need a quarterback. Cleveland, you need a quarterback. New York Jets, you need a quarterback. Denver Broncos, Chicago Bears, you need a quarterback. Okay? Or a backup quarterback. Indianapolis Colts. Okay? You need a backup quarterback. Detroit Lions, a Super Bowl quarterback. But yet the owners has found new ways to shoot themselves in the foot. Control. Now, let's take a look at things differently. The CBA is going to be up soon, right? The Players Association has filed a grievance. You already know the fact that, I expect to be either a lockout or a strike coming because of what's going on. And for these men to be ostracized, particularly Reed and Kaepernick, to be ostracized by invoking the First Amendment right, which I have read on this podcast before, particularly the second one, which I've read on this podcast before. Nobody should be nobody, I mean nobody, should have their rights infringed by way of free speech. Nobody. Yes, you make the argument it's your job, it's someone's job, and no. You have the Department of Defense paying the National Felons League, the National Football League, millions upon millions of dollars for paid patriotism. And unfortunately, there are people here, and it's true, that we pretty much eat, sleep, and breathe Americana, not understanding how the American government works, what the that piece of parchment paper that's sitting in Washington, not Philadelphia, Washington, that says what the Constitution is and what it does and everything else. We cannot have patriotism suit us to feel good. If America allows us to speak our mind, good, bad, or indifferent, so be it. We can respect one's opinions, but you should not be blackballing somebody just because of said opinion that makes you or anyone else feel indifferently. These men should be playing. If 25% of the NFL, which honestly, I'll be honest with you, 25% of those players are replaceable anyway, no matter how you slice it. They're going to find players. I mean, you forget the free agent market is pretty saturated. So, yeah. Honestly, I don't see it. Football will be played, but I'll be watching a lot of baseball, a whole lot of baseball season, especially the playoffs.
Go ahead, Amina.
Concerning Sean King, sometimes he's reliable, sometimes he's not. In this case,
I gotta say the defense on this one because evidently he's from the Washington Post. The Washington Post, and he's a super light bright. Okay, there are things he does post that he does write about that is controversial and is there to invoke something. So, just a disclaimer.
yes, we know. Um, I don't think it's 25. If it is true that some players are willing to sit out the season, I don't think it's even near 25%. I think it may be around maybe 5 or
So
10%.
hold up,
25%
Amina.
is too much.
Amina, hold up. So you're saying he works for fake news? Is that what you're saying, Matt? He works for fake news? Go ahead, Amina. I'm sorry.
According to President Orangutan, yes, or as I call it, the leader of the free tanning world.
Oh dear. Yes. I don't think it's near 25%. I think it hypothetically, if it are players that are willing to sit out the season, I think it's no more than 10. 25% is too much of a reach. Um, as Colin said, it's too late for that. If players actually legitimately wanted to sit out the entire season, they should have done this when his movement started, and they should have done this most recent season. It's too late for this now. He already has the collusion lawsuit against the NFL that he's going to win. And even to add more salt to the wound, it came out this week that our dear president, Donald J. Trump, supposedly told the all the owners to not sign him.
Don't you ever post that name in this? I'm kidding. Go ahead.
He, he's supposedly told all the owners to not sign Colin Kaepernick. So it seems, and if it comes out to be true, Colin Kaepernick's going to own not only the NFL, but he's going to own, Trump. It's not going good. If they wanted to show unity for Colin Kaepernick, they should have done it a year ago, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, when this movement was fresh and was getting nonstop daily media coverage. You don't choose to participate and help him when he needs it the most when it's convenient for you. It's pointless now. I don't ever see him getting signed to another team again. It's just too late. But hey, if people are willing to do something, I think you should do something else. But to sit out an entire season, it's not going to get the same impact as it would a year or two ago. I'm sorry, it's just too late.
All right, Matt, go ahead and do your baseball thing. We're pretty late in this podcast. Go ahead and do your baseball thing.
Well, before I go into baseball, I gotta go into hockey real quick. We don't play 2 games for the Stanley Cup Finals, right? I wonder, has anyone taken notice of the fact that there's a team called the Vegas Golden Knights on this podcast? I'm just wondering because that's an expansion team, number one, and number two, that's an expansion team in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Washington Capitals, who finally got there. And I'm sorry to say this, but the Caps are not going to win. I'm sorry, sorry, Ovechkin. Especially you struggled to beat Sidney Crosby, and you finally beat them. You got to deal with Marc-Andre Fleury and the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, Vegas Golden Knights. That's one. Two. If anyone has not taken advantage of what the Phillies are doing right now, it's the fact their pitching staff is pretty good. It's pretty good. In fact, there's the starters the starting rotation is one of the best in baseball, statistically speaking. Jake Arrieta, he's pitching like Jake Arrieta. But the biggest come up is Aaron Nola. The man is pitching like an ace. Now, coming in the league, I thought he would be the number one ace, but really is more of a 2, if not a 3. But being in that 2 role it helps. It really helps. And think about this. This 2 alone, tackle on Velasquez, and he's healthy right now. Don't hold your breath if he goes through the whole season. Eflin and Pivetta. And plus you have 1 or 2 other starters in the bullpen, tack on AAA. This team is a very good team. And mind you, you look at the standings right now, last time I checked, they're a game out of first place and they're in third place. So think about that for a second. The Phillies are pretty much game and a half. I haven't checked yet, but game and a half, if not 2, out of first place behind Atlanta and the Nationals. Think about that.
Hey, listen. First off, I got one thing. Now, I've been told you that there's a spot on the thing for you as far as being the baseball writer for the site. Still haven't taken me up on it. Start writing them on.
I've been busy. I've been busy. I've been busy. It's called work.
I understand. We all work. You know.
I got you.
You know, I work too. But we're getting into the dry season and hockey and baseball. So yeah. So there's that. But also, I wanted to get your thoughts because I'm hearing rumors from different people, Philly.com and others, that that the Phillies are in the Manny Machado sweepstakes. So tell me about that. Tell us about that. Educate us on that.
Basically, it's not just Manny Machado, but also Bryce Harper. They're in the Phillies have money. They got money to spend. Remember, all the players from like the 2008 era are off the books. So no more bad contracts. The only contract that's big right now is I think it's Arrieta's contract. I think Nashik's contract is big. I gotta look at their numbers again. but most of those players are from AAA. They're homegrown, so they got money for days. Not to take into account arbitration and all this nonsense. As far as Machado is concerned, it depends on what Michael Franco does. It depends on his numbers and his production. Now, Manny Machado is a third baseman. So, with that being said, like I said, he's a better player offensively. I think he's a better all-around player than Michael Franco. So, I think Michael is I think he's a free agent at the end of the year. I think. I'm not sure. But it depends on what Franco does. Because right now he's playing a lot better offensively, and his swing's a lot shorter than what it was last year. That's what I've noticed. And his hands start low versus starting way up. His swing is big, but it's not as big as what it was. So it depends on what Franco does. If he has a subpar year, they're going after Machado big time. But I forgot they have Santana over at first too. So it really depends on this season.
Well, I'm hearing that a lot of people think that he'll be traded here by the deadline next month. What you think? Machado, not Harper. Just to be clear.
That's a high possibility. That's a high possibility because right now Baltimore's playing for nothing. They're dead last, so that does make things a lot more enticing. But also, think about this: it depends on what the Phillies are by the deadline, which is July 31st. It depends on where they are. If they're in the hunt for, say, the wild card or even the division, I personally expect them to make a move right then and there.
All right. See, we can talk baseball, hockey, and to you Golden Knights fans, yeah, we need to do a better job with that. But congratulations to the Golden Knights and the Capitals. Go Las Vegas because we don't ever want DC to be happy. So go Las Vegas. And moving right along.
You trying to get Tristiani like cut or something like this? What's wrong with you, bro?
Listen, it's a miserable franchise, and it's a good city, but it's a miserable city. I can say that because I live there. So
think about this. You had Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins in your way every stinking year. It's like the Cowboys in your way every year. You get sick of it after a certain point, and you want to knock somebody out. I mean, that's what's going on with Washington and Pittsburgh in the Eastern Conference Finals. Washington has had enough. I mean, you had Sidney Crosby, who, yes, if you watch him play, it's enough to punch him in the face. You want to punch him in the face because he's a punk, in my view. But you to have Ovechkin finally get there instead of Sidney Crosby every fucking time. Wouldn't you feel the same way? Just saying.
I mean, we've had that before with the Eagles. Remember how often the Eagles wouldn't go to the NFC Championship, to the Super Bowl, only to be knocked out by the Patriots. So let's move right along to our other questions, to our Sixers and Eagles and finals questions, because Amina's bugging me about these finals questions. So moving right along.
Her and those damn Golden State freaking Warriors. Jeez, this killing my news feed with Warrior nonsense. Oh, hush your face.
Don't get knifed, man. Don't get shaked. Moving right along to some more Sixers stuff. Do we think Burnergate will have any effect on the 76ers' chances of landing a big-time free agent like PG-13 or Brad? I'll start. Yes, I think it will because, right now, LeBron is in playoff mode, so he's not on social media right now, right? But there's no way he has not heard. He's got a TV. probably a really, really big screen, probably 100-inch 4K plasma TV in his house. And there's no way he hasn't watched ESPN, right? Or whatever he watches and knows about this. He has the internet. I know he looks. They all do. All athletes look at things being said about them, and especially being said about their destination. And PG-13 isn't in the playoffs, so he's checking social media. So yes, it's definitely going to have an effect on their chances, especially if the Sixers do the dumb thing and do not fire him. It doesn't matter that there's no tangible way to prove that the accounts are his. Everything has to be done through the internet and IT people that figure it out. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, whether it's him, whether it's his wife, whether it's his son, or somebody real close to him, like I said earlier, the fact of the matter still remains that they got that information from somewhere. So, like I said, it's one of three possibilities. Either he's saying something to his family, which, let's be honest, is hard to say. In some way, we all take work with us, but this is taking work with you to the extreme. The second thing is he doesn't have good security on his notes, on his computers, on his tablets, on his email, or because there has to be some way they're getting this information. So it's either he's extremely careless, or three, like I said, like somebody is pulling rank and getting this information from somewhere, from some other Sixers, or from some other, maybe his secretary, maybe his assistant. So they're getting this information from somebody in the front office, right? So either way, somebody got to lose their job. So yeah, if the Sixers don't fire him, this is going to affect free agency. And the Sixers need to not be sentimental. They need to get rid of him. They need to get rid of him before the weekend's out. They need to get rid of him. If they don't get rid of him, I would be surprised if this weekend ends and they don't get rid of him. If the finals end and they don't get rid of him, I was talking to Amina about this earlier, right? If the finals end and the Sixers do not, if the Sixers go to the NBA draft or start free agency, start July 1st, 2018, start free agency with him as their GM, they're not getting anybody.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. As much as you want, don't get me wrong, it should happen that as much as you want Bryan Colangelo to be removed of his duties as the general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers, I'm sorry to tell you that possibility is remote. Very, very remote. Because, of course, you got to investigate. You got to see if that was the case and the third. Now, if it's one thing where, Colangelo says, you know what? I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. I apologize. I'm sorry. And be all sincere about it. And then we'll see what happens from there. But if you're the 76ers, right? You're the owner. Or whoever does the hiring of said GM. Who would you want to be your general manager of the Sixers of the Sixers if, and there's a big if, they remove Colangelo from his duties? Names? I don't know any.
I am so glad you asked, Matt. I was just about to get to this. There's a name that is not currently working anywhere. That was the former Cavaliers GM, David Griffin. You could get David Griffin. He's not doing anything right now. Get David Griffin. I'm so glad you asked. David Griffin. You can hire the former coach of the Pelicans. They're saying that Brett Brown wants him on his staff as his new assistant coach. You can hire him, whose wife died, whose name escapes me. Monty Williams, I believe. You can hire him. There's a bunch of people. I mean, David Griffin is the biggest name on there. But yeah, you can hire him. But go ahead. I listen. I don't want Bryan Colangelo to lose his job. I'm just saying the situation calls for him to lose his job because either, like I said, you believe him that he had nothing to do with this, But the question is still, how did they get that information? That's what I'm saying. So, if you're asking that question, then he should get fired because there's only one way his wife or his son can get that information. Really is.
Yeah,
Either
true.
or they're pulling rank. It's one of the two.
But here's the thing. I honestly think the Sixers will not do it. They're not going to do it. I really think they're not going to do it because, again, familiarity. They're familiar with it, and they're going to investigate this thing. They want any company is going to investigate an allegation, a claim. You can't go. You cannot react on hearsay. I mean, that's what's going on in the country right now. Everybody reacting to hearsay, with all these rape allegations. So you need investigation. You need information. What's going on? And at this point, I do not, until we hear what's going on and the information surrounding it, I do not see this man getting fired anytime soon.
Amina?
It's just the same old usual. I don't think I agree with Matt as far as the investigation piece about it. This mess just came out like this week. So investigations just don't take a matter of days. They gotta get people's phone records, internet records, IP addresses, gotta possibly get warrants and stuff. It doesn't take a day or two. It takes a little bit while. So I don't think it's going to happen immediately. I think they're going to go into free agency with him, possibly. I don't know, but this is what I think. And it'll be rather interesting because the draft is on the 21st of this month, which is in a matter of days, 19 to be exact. So it'll be interesting to see how this impacts the Sixers draft picks to come to the team. And free agency, it'll be interesting to see what people do or don't come to the team this summer. But his reputation, as far as I don't know whether it can be rebuilt or not. Sixers fans will have to tell me if they believe their general manager's reputation can be rebuilt. But this is just goes to show, stay off of social media. Stop telling people things that they should not know. Look, I've worked in in a nursing home. I've worked in people's homes, giving them home care services. If I was giving personal information to people in my personal life, as far as family and friends, about the residents at the nursing home I used to work at, and it got back to my supervisors, managers, the nursing director at the nursing home, I would be fired for that because I broke HIPAA laws. I have a HIPAA certificate with my name on it, with the seal on it for Pennsylvania, the state. I don't play like you don't violate laws, like you don't violate confidentiality. And some of the stuff they leak on these burn pages is like, whoa, like where did that come from? Somebody is talking, somebody needs to start talking, and people need to stop talking. But it'll be rather interesting to see how this goes on. He
This,
just burned a lot of opportunities for the Sixers, possibly. But it is
this is.
what it is.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Amina.
I said it is what it is.
I'm gonna ask you a question since you way over in Oakland land. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, eat it. Look, you're saying so in your roundabout way. You're saying yes, he may have violated HIPAA law, code, whatever the case may be, but should he be removed?
No, I don't think he should be right now because they don't have a backup. They don't have somebody of his caliber to come back to replace him.
But
What
people,
I'm saying
but
is that
people get released. But
yes,
people get released all the time, and there's
yes,
no
I know.
backup.
Yes, I know. What I'm just saying is that this mess just happened this week. It's going to take a while for an investigation, maybe a few months, a few weeks. It's not going to take a week. No investigation of any type of criminal situation or otherwise takes a matter of days to handle, unless the person comes out and admits, yes, I did such and such, and I'm going to give you the proof of what I did. Other than that, if he doesn't talk, it's going to be longer.
Listen, let me say this and this is my fault because I didn't say the timeline. I said by the end of the weekend, but that was a little unrealistic of me. They cannot start free agency. So this broke Wednesday, and there's only 30 days in June. So they cannot start free agency. So June 1st will literally be a month. So they cannot start. I mean July 1st. They cannot start July 1st, the first weekend of free agency. They cannot start July 1st. They cannot start midnight, July 1st, 2018. They cannot start free agency with this man. Because I'm gonna tell you, because the rumor is that this is a rumor, but everybody's reporting it, that both co-owners of the Sixers are leaning towards firing him. Doesn't matter that it's hearsay. Doesn't matter that they have, because they hired a big time New York internet security firm to look into this, to see if it's actually him, to see if they can, you know, corroborate IP addresses and stuff. Because there's no way the Sixers just found out about this. You know, like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's hard for me to believe that the Sixers just now found out about this. You know, like, because there's some things as an organization, because these tweets were well known, so well known that the Ringer had, not the Ringer, the Athletic had, no, the Ringer had five of the accounts. They only told that man about two. They only told the Sixers about two accounts. I read the article. They only told Brian Colangelo about two of those accounts. You want to know what happened? All five of those accounts went private as soon as they told him about two. And he's already admitted to them that he used one of those accounts. So this is why I keep saying that for me, it's hard for me to believe that if you copied that you've used one of those accounts, then there's no way that you didn't use the other four. Unless how many kids does he have? Unless he got five kids, and there was an account for each of those kids. This is what I keep saying. It's hard for me to believe, right, that he was ignorant, completely ignorant of what was going on with these Twitter accounts when he's already copped to owning one of those accounts. I'm just saying, right? So okay, there's no way that, because he's already copped to one. That was my fault. That was just on my part for not bringing that up. He's already copped to one. So there's no way on God's green earth that he's not that four of them, all five of them don't belong to him. Now he may not use all five of them, but if his wife or his son, because that's what they're saying, it's either his wife or his son. If one of them was using the accounts, then that's foreseeable. Because I don't think he'd have time to do more than one account. Because, like Matt said, like I've said, and like you said, he's GM of one of the oldest franchises in the NBA. So, president of basketball operations, they don't call it GM. I don't know why they just don't go back to say general manager. Whatever. You know, like I'm saying, there's just no way that, as a president, I literally think, this is what I believe. I believe he used one of those accounts because that's all he had time for. Now, I believe that the other four are run by somebody else. Could be his wife, could be his son. But either way, it goes back to him. This is what I'm saying. So moving right along. Can he regain it? I'm sorry, you asked that question. I didn't answer it. If they stay, I believe in second chances. If they keep him past when I think they'll get rid of him, I think he can regain his reputation, but I think it'll be at a detriment to the Sixers, because I definitely think that, if they let him stay, that it's going to cost them in free agency for the next couple of years. I really do believe that. Can he regain it? Of course, he can regain his reputation. His last name is Colangelo, their basketball royalty. But to be honest, I just think it's going to be hard. Like Amina said, and I work in a school, so I can also attest to this. If I violate HIPAA laws by telling people stuff, telling my family stuff about kids that I work with, and my job finds out about it, I can lose my job too. I also have HIPAA certification. So anybody that works in school, in nursing, in the health field, in the education field, everybody knows that you cannot violate HIPAA without going to jail or getting sued. And this is what I forgot to mention up, and I know Matt will probably agree with this too, that if Jahlil Okafor wanted to, he can sue the Sixers for defamation or for slander because, like I said, only he and the Sixers know whether he failed a test or not. Like I said, I haven't been able to confirm he failed the test. A lot of Sixers beat writers have not been able to confirm that he failed the test. Nobody knows if he failed the physical. But that's like the most detrimental thing that burner account tweeted. Because if it's true that he failed the physical, or if it's not true that he failed the physical, like I said earlier, why are you still defaming a player that's not here anymore? So if that's the case, I believe he's lost his reputation and can't gain it back because, like I said,
He's on the Brooklyn Nets, minding his own business.
It traces back to him because either, like I said, you believe it's him or you believe it's his family, and either way, it goes back to him because he must be saying something to them for them to know this information, or they're pulling rank. Either way, somebody in the Sixers organization is giving away secrets. Whether it's him or somebody under him, somebody's giving away secrets. Go ahead, Matt. Answer this last question so we can get to what she wants to get to. Matt, you
Come
there?
back later.
Oh, come back later. Okay. All right, Amina. Let's go. Let's go to you. Are you tired of the Warriors and Cavs making it to the finals?
I'm 50-50 with it. I'm going to start with why I am tired of it. Each conference has 15 teams. Eastern Conference has 14 other teams minus the Cavs. Western Conference has 14 teams minus the Warriors. Last 4 years, these 4 years have shown me that the other 28 teams just cannot make it to a finals for some reason. They just don't have the defense. They don't have the manpower. They don't have. You mean to tell me it's only 2 qualified, eligible teams in the NBA right now to make it to a finals? That's what's being shown to me. It's like I'm begging one of the other 14 teams in the West to take these finals keys from us. It's like, come on. Where is something new at? It's like, yo. It's like y'all don't put any effort anymore. Like, it is so predictable. Like, why does it have to be this? 14 other teams need to step up to the plate. No excuse. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what it's gonna take. I mean, do y'all want us to be running the NBA for the next 10 years? Do y'all want us to be in the 5th finals next year? If not, wake up, get the funk out your team, and get yourself to a finals like we've done for 4 years in a row. I don't get it.
Well, it's because of the fact that you have shooters that one shooter that takes bad shots and makes them. You have pretty much Kevin Durant that wants to be part of a winner. But look, everybody wants to be part of the crew. Everybody wants to be part of the Motley crew. That's the way it is in sports.
I
all
I
sports.
know that, but outside of that, you mean to tell me that only one team in the West is good enough to go to the finals for 4 years in a row?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Look, you have to think about this. Yeah, OKC at one point. Yeah, Houston. You had San Antonio at one point. There are teams that have at least challenged the Golden State Warriors, and
But not been able to dethrone us. That's the
because
thing. I'm
but
begging it. I'm begging one of these teams to take it. We can't do it a fifth year in a row. We can't. We can't hold
wait,
the
wait,
we
I'll
can't
be
hold the West.
honest with you.
We can't hold the
You,
West up forever.
can I be honest with you? And I'm gonna call you out on this one. You're telling me you yourself do not want to be the champ? Because I'll be the first person to tell you, I'm like this. You come and take it. Because I guarantee you, you
I'm
want.
not I'm not saying that I don't want to be sure. Getting trophies, getting banners, that's all well and fine. But at some point it gets to be the question. Now we're in the fourth year. You mean to tell me that
It's the fourth year of the
you you
same
you
team
mean you mean to
facing in
tell
the
me
finals.
you mean to tell me that only my team is good enough to make it to a finals and it's
At
14
this
other
point, yes.
and you tell me it's 14 other teams that can't get out of their funk and won't.
Well. Talk to Boston about that. Talk to the Lakers about that. Talk to
So are we
Chicago
going to be
about
dealing?
that.
So is my team
Talk
going
to
to be in the
Detroit about that. These look. This is
is my team going
nothing
to be
new.
in the fifth straight finals next year? Fifth.
Well, let's put it this way: if you took a look, you look at the annals that is the history of the NBA. There has been one point when the Boston Celtics won nine, count them, nine straight NBA titles before the Sixers did their thing in 66, 67. Remind you,
And you got
nine.
the Lakers too. They did a run too, but that's
They,
all well and fine. I
on
know
this,
that, but my thing is today the current NBA. You mean to tell me that the Golden State Warriors are the only good team in the West?
yeah,
Okay, thank you. I'm just saying, like, I sure I wouldn't mind more trophies, more banners, more finals runs, but at some point it gets old. I want something new and fresh, something that I don't expect to happen to go to the finals and it happens. That's what I want. I want to see two teams go to the finals next year that I never even saw coming.
but you know. First of all, I got to shut you up on this one. Any fan, if you're a team of any fan, I'll allow the Sixers, the Celtics, the Lakers, and the like. You, my thing is simply this: I want to hold on to that banner for as long as
I
humanly
do too,
possible.
but I'm
But I'm not gonna
50-50
sit
with it.
here and I'm not gonna sit here and gripe and bitch and complain about who I'm playing. The team that who I'm playing against, the team who I'm playing against, and my job is to sit there and beat the living snot out of whoever's in front of me. It is what it is, and unfortunately, you pretty much went through the West. And
Even
by the way, don't you forget the fact that the Houston Astros, the Houston Rockets were the number one seed team in the West. Did you forget about that? Number one, number
that
two.
don't mean nothing. Number
Yeah,
one in the East was the Raptors, and look what happened to them.
no, that's the Raptors. Their kryptonite was LeBron James. Number two. Speaking of the East, you just forget about the fact that look, Boston took Cleveland almost to the cleaners, but LeBron James had an epiphany in Game Seven, and had a stellar game. So look, teams and players step up in moments, and that's what happens with Golden State. Here's the score. Excuse me, that's what's going on with Cleveland right now. So it is what it is. You can complain, you can bitch about you want more parity and this, that, and the third. Which, by the way, I've heard enough. I understand. Colin don't like the word parity, particularly in the NBA, which I don't give a two rat shit about that. But look, you want parity too? That's fine, well and dandy. But right now, the two best teams in the NBA, you're watching it for 4 straight years. I am not
What
sorry
I'm
about
saying,
that.
what I'm
Oh
saying is
boy.
that even my players, Clay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Kevin Durant have all said that if people are tired of seeing the Warriors in the finals, the other teams in the West need to step up to the plate. They say they don't care if y'all are tired of seeing us. They say it's not our fault. It's not their fault. Of course, it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they're the only good ones. on a basketball court. The other teams they don't want to go to a finals, and it's obvious. So it's either going to be they step up. It's going to be either they step up to the plate and do what's necessary to get to a finals, or it's going to be us for a fifth year in a row next year.
Look, let me tell you something. I'm gonna answer this question this way. To a degree, I may be tired of watching the same few teams over and over again. However, this is a wake-up call to the National Basketball Association.
And we're never going to
get your
see this type of situation ever again.
Well, guess what? This is an anomaly at this point. You have the greatest player in the world who is pretty much a free agent at the end of the year. Let's not forget about that, number one. A free agent at the end of the year, number one. Number two, you have the Golden State Warriors, who are one of the most well-coached teams in the NBA, particularly in the West. So, think about it, if Houston didn't go 7 for 44 in three-point shooting, we wouldn't be talking about this. If Boston stayed on Cleveland's throat, we would not be talking about this. But things happen. And yes, I may be sick of the fact I'm watching Golden State and Cleveland once again, but here's my take on this. You know full and darn well you get an entertaining series. It's a storyline behind this. It is I hate to admit it, a rivalry in and of itself, because now you're meeting for a fourth time. Look, 2-1 favor Golden State. If you're Cleveland, you want to even the score. Bottom line, you want to even the score big time if you're Cleveland. And the fan base of Cleveland, Ohio, because the Cleveland Indians are playing pretty well.
Oh,
And the Browns are the Browns. But look, but the fact of the matter is, you want to even score if you're the Cleveland fan base. But if you're all the other 28 National Basketball Association teams, you want, including the 76ers, which is in that equation, and list, you want to make sure you want to dethrone the champs. And in this case, the chance for you, and you're going to sit here and say you're sick of it. I'll be honest with you.
I'm not
Golden
sick
State
of it.
Warrior
I'm just
fan like
wondering
this. Go right ahead.
I want to know where
come
the
get
other
it.
talent is, like in these other teams, like
I
to make it
don't
fun.
give a rat's ass what the other talent is. Their job is to find that talent and make sure they come correct. My thing is this: you're the champ. You have a target on your back. It's a big target on your back, and so far, people are taking the shot and they have missed. That's my take on it. Am I sick of it? Yes, but until a better team comes along, we won't have this for as long as we're gonna see it.
Of course, and that's why I said that it's going to be a fifth year in a row if they don't get it together. And
Let's
I'm not, and the other part of it is I'm not tired of it because this is a situation in NBA that we're never going to see again.
Kylie, get her.
This is a historic run. We're not going to see this situation ever again. Like I don't.
You sounded like a bronze sexual right
No, I'm not. We're not going to see this ever again. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to see these two
now.
teams go at it.
I gotta disagree with you there. This is not a once in a lifetime thing. Like
For
Matt,
right now, for what's going on, right now it is.
like Matt, for right now, for what's going on, yes. But this is not. I tell people all the time, and I know y'all both know basketball. But if you really know basketball, this is not a surprise. Every 20, 30 years, we always have a team like this, a super team that forms in the state of California. They have a bunch of all-stars, at least 2 top players, at least. And it just happens, whether it be by the draft, like the Showtime Lakers did, or it's by trade, like the Lakers did, or it's by drafting. It's by drafting and trading, like the Celtics did back in the day. And y'all making me burn my hot take before I even get there. But like, let's.
I gotta stop you too. Think about this: the Lakers and the Celtics have been at each other's throats since the 50s.
Yes.
So think about this: if you're a basketball head and you know your basketball history, the Lakers and the Celtics, they're going to go at each other's throats. The Lakers and the Sixers go after each other's throats. So enjoy this rivalry, please.
No, I do. I agree. I enjoy it. I mean, I don't know why I'm just complaining. Like, all right, listen. And I use this example, and he got some.
I'm not complaining. I'm just want to know where's the other talent in the West.
There's competition, man. The Warriors were off this year. They were a 2 seed, as Matt said. The Rockets just missed. Chris Paul got injured. It's a lot of things that happen, man. Like I said, you can't guarantee health in the NBA playoffs, which your team knows better than anybody. You can't guarantee health.
Of course. I'm just
And of course, Steph Curry was out. I think for the first round at least. Was out. So there was your opportunity right there. And yet no one took advantage of that.
And he didn't play the first round against the Spurs, and we beat them.
And Andre Iguodala's been out since the Western Conference, and Cleveland still couldn't take advantage of it. Like it just is what it is. This is what happens when you have 2 top players and 2 really good players on the same team. This is what happened to the Lakers in the 60s and 70s. And you making me blow my point before I get there. This is not, like I said, this is not the first era of the super team in basketball either. What did you think those Lakers and Celtics teams were in the 50s, 60s, and 70s? Like I said, to answer the question, I'm not tired of this finals because, listen, as I said and riled up some Patriots fans earlier today, nobody complains. I don't understand why basketball is the only sport where people complain about repeat appearances in the finals. Nobody complains about the Patriots, and I brought this up, and Matt and Andre tried to jump down my throat, but it keeps being proven right. We know one half of the Super Bowl matchup every year, because for the last 5 to 6 years, it's been the dang Patriots. The only time
I'll take it a step further. I'll go a step further. In the NHL, the Montreal Canadiens at least gone to the Stanley Cup Finals every decade. Every decade until the 2000s. Until the 2000s. The Montreal Canadiens own the NHL. That's number 1. Number 2, the Yankees have 27 World Series titles. And yet, if you look into the annals of history, the Yankees, the Giants, and even the Dodgers, the mecca of baseball was in New York before they moved in the 50s. But you see New York, in the 50s, mind you. New York. Is either the Yankees, mostly, if not the Giants, in 1954. But until we get to 1960, where the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Yankees thanks to Bill Mazeroski's home run. But other than that, you see this in sports all the time. Everywhere. It's sit here and gripe and bitch complain about the fact that, the talent is there. And like Colin said, the injuries happen, situations happen. And we've seen game 1 to where as though a dummy decision was just made. Things happen in sports. Anomalies happen in sports. I mean, right now, there's parity in baseball. There's parity in football, but you see the Patriots just doing their thing. And then with this right now, the Pittsburgh Penguins, thank God they're not in the Stanley Cup Finals, rattle off 5 NHL titles in a span of what? 15 years. So, what's the problem?
No one complained in the 90s when the Bulls did 2, 3. Not one, but
we
2 3-peat.
Thank you. Listen, like I said,
no one complained a few years ago when the Miami Heat with the 4 back-to-back finals did a 4-peat. Nobody complains about that. Nobody complains for the past 6 decades about the Lakers and Celtics going in each other's throats. Nobody complains about that. Let people come at my thing. Let it come on.
Listen. I as an Eagles fan, we have our banner. As Ric Flair said, "Woo! To be the man, you got to beat the man." Right? So if anybody want to knock off the Warriors, we already know the Cavaliers are going to fall off because LeBron's out of there. Right? So next year you'll have something different. It'll probably be the Golden State Warriors and the Philadelphia 76ers, the Battle of Philadelphia. I keep saying it because it's going to happen. You know,
All aboard,
y'all,
choo-choo!
y'all might as well get ready. You know, but I'm not tired of it because, as Matt said, there's a storyline with it. There's a lot going on with this matchup. I mean, this is the most vulnerable the Warriors have ever been, and this is the weakest team the Cleveland Cavaliers have ever mustered to get into the finals. Like, this is a good storyline. What's going to win? The vulnerable Warriors, or is LeBron going to have to put on a godlike performance to keep his team in the game? And as we've seen so far, the Warriors are vulnerable, and the Cavaliers, and it's going to take a Herculean effort by LeBron. He might have to score 100 points a game to beat the Warriors. And that's what we watch.
He is not no Will Chamberlain.
That's what we watch for. We watch for the Herculean efforts. We're going to watch to see if because I fully expect them to lose tomorrow. I think the Warriors had to scare you last. We not there yet. But let me just say this: I expect the Warriors to come out on fire tomorrow, and I expect them to go back to Cleveland down 2-0 because this was the best chance they had to win, and I think they're demoralized. But let's watch. We watch for the stories. That's what's so great about sports. It's why the sports writer. We watch for the stories. We watch to see are the Warriors really that vulnerable? Are they going to keep missing shots? Are they going to keep not showing up until the second half? Are the Cavaliers actually going to get somebody to perform well outside of LeBron James? What will we see? You know, it is what it is. That's the NBA job. The NBA has to sell it. And I'm doing some free advertising. They got to sell it, though. So moving right along to our next one, because it's 3 o'clock already. All right. So was getting the Cavs to the 2018 finals the biggest accomplishment of Bron's career? This is the only Bron sexual question I have in here. So let me start, because Matt wasn't here for the story, but at work yesterday, I was arguing with kind of I won't call him a Bron sexual, but a co-worker of mine who was very, very pro in love with LeBron James to the point where it's almost a little sickening. And, you know, he was trying to argue to me that LeBron has already passed MJ just for going to the finals 8 straight times because Michael Jordan never did that. How we forget that Michael Jordan never retired and never lost interest in basketball. He might have been the 12 straight finals. Who really knows?
Michael Jordan never lost the final.
Right. So, you know, Matt, I'm talking to you more off air about that. You're gonna be upset when you hear about this afterwards. But you know, I have to say this. This might have been, and I wrote an article about this called The King's Broad Shoulders. I have to kind of agree that this was the best career year. This is a career accomplishment for LeBron. It's not a GOAT-defining accomplishment. It's a career accomplishment. I'll give it that. Because, like I've said on this podcast numerous amounts of time over the last 3 weeks, this is the greatest accomplishment of LeBron's career so far. Getting this weak behind team to the finals. This team with an inconsistent, almost apoplectic J.R. Smith. This team with a Kardashian curse, even though I don't believe in curses, Kardashian curse Tristan Thompson. You know, this might have been the worst. I told Andre, it's kind of weird without somebody arguing that this is not the weakest team that the Cavaliers have ever put together. This is the weakest team the Cavaliers have ever put together. Like, if they were constructed earlier in the season, I thought the team that was constructed earlier in the season, I'm going to keep it 100 and be completely transparent. I thought that team would have been more of a challenge for the Warriors with Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Love, Dwayne Wade off the bench. I thought that would have been a more competitive matchup for the Warriors than this team that's currently constructed, because that team would have challenged the Warriors, because you got a 6-man and an assassin like Dwayne Wade who gets up for finals, a former finals MVP off the bench. And you can put J.R. Smith where he belongs, on the bench. Let him come off the bench. But anyway, Like I think that team would have been a better matchup for the Warriors. But as it's presently constructed, yeah, this is the greatest accomplishment of his career. It's not a GOAT level accomplishment, as some of you broad sexuals and some of you extreme LeBron fans will argue. It is a great career accomplishment. And there's a distinction. This is not a GOAT accomplishment. This is a career accomplishment. Go ahead, Matt. Or at Kyler W. Watson if you want to argue. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. All right. See. All right. Remind me about this LeBron sexual bit.
Okay, so long story short, this guy that I was talking to, a coworker of mine, he was arguing to me one that the Miami Heat, when LeBron James joined it, wasn't a super team. That's one. That Dwayne Wade wouldn't have won a ring without Shaquille O'Neal, and that LeBron's greatest accomplishment of his 8 straight finals makes him better than Jordan already. Go ahead. But that's not the question. That's just what I'm going to tell you.
Jordan, who's never lost the finals, by the way. That Jordan.
We watched. We watched. Remember. We watched. We grew up on that era of basketball. We watched.
All right. Here you go. I'm sick and tired of all these jerks comparing Jordan and LeBron James. I'm sick and tired of all these jerks coming out here and making the case that Jordan didn't do this or Jordan did that and this, that, and the other. Look, when he went to Cleveland, no, went to Miami, or yeah, taking his talents to Miami, the team, it was Dwayne Wade's team. Number one, bottom line. Number two, and then tackle on Chris Bosh, and you rattled off three finals appearances. So that's number one. Number two. Are you talking to yourself? Talking to yourself's bad. Number two, right? You got like. Ain't you making smoothies? I really gotta go, man. Yeah, you do. Number two. The thing is simply this: you can't sit here and and believe and believe, you know, that Michael Jordan did all this. Oh, look, different generation, different era. You cannot compare apples to oranges. And yet, people keep doing this. I'm sick and tired of all these LeBron sexuals coming up on all sorts of platforms saying whatever it is they want to say. Because frankly, people do not understand nor get that these are different eras, okay? It is an accomplishment what he is doing, but let's call it what it is. An accomplishment. Something you will never see again, okay? Can we not compare apples to oranges here, please? Because this is ridiculous and it's getting on my nerves as far as I'm concerned. These LeBron sexuals have to understand. Yes, he is the greatest player of all time. Can we just sit back and enjoy the fact that he is the greatest player of all time? Can we just enjoy this, please, and not ruin it for the rest of the population at large? Because freaking as far as I'm concerned, it's getting on my nerves and it's driving me insane. So, and oh, by the way, just to let you know, it takes a team to win the title, not an individual. Talk to Allen Iverson about that. Getting my damn nerves.
Amina?
Yes, it was. It's the biggest accomplishment, not so much of his career, but I would say of the season. His team, they went through a lot this year. They went through literally two different teams. This is the team that's in the finals right now was not the team that the season started with. or even in the middle of the season around All-Star weekend. So it was major roster adjustments. They gutted the team. They cleaned it out and like damn, they went to finals this year. The Cavs. I was thinking that it was gonna be the Celtics this year. That's what I was praying for, but that didn't happen. But for them to get to the finals and they don't have anyone other than LBJ, J.R. Smith, and Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson. That's an accomplishment right there. It's, they're basically got to the finals on a depleted roster, and it's like wow. So not so much of his career, but the season, in my opinion.
All right, let's hit these. Let's hit these last couple of questions. All right. So let's just combine them. Were the Cavaliers robbed, and what are your predictions for Game 2? All right. So the Cavaliers were not robbed, contrary to popular belief. They were not robbed. I mean, everybody knows who watched the basketball game this year, the last few years, that the NBA, the progressive league that it is, they have this thing where in the last 2 minutes they review calls because they want to get it right. Now remember, this is the post Tim Donaghy NBA, where for those of you that don't know who Tim Donaghy is, he was a referee that bet on games, that would try and fix games so he could earn money from Las Vegas and different places because he owed debts to the mob and different people. He's in jail now. He might be out of jail. Matt or Amina can correct me if I'm wrong. And it's because of that the NBA has done that, has had more scrutiny on their referees, have made replays, and have done a lot of different things to make sure that the game stays pure, right? And so, I didn't really, because listen, this is what I told my coworker too and people at work. There was 36.4 seconds left on that clock. Whether that call went one way or the other, it was a close call. It was good. That's what you want. That's what you want. You want it to come down to that. You want the referees to get it right. And they got it right the first, and they got it right. The call, it was a block. It wasn't a charge. It was a block. He was still moving, and you can clearly see it. He was moving. He was still moving. He wasn't in position, and by the letter of the law, because he wasn't in position, he lost. He lost. He didn't get the call. Now LeBron knows what it feels like. As was said on ESPN by Steven Jackson, now he knows what it feels like to not get a call. When he's on the opposite end, usually he's the person getting the generous call, but he was on the other end this time. It doesn't feel so good, does it, LeBron? But, like I said, LeBron had a good night. If J.R. Smith didn't go apoplectic and got the rebound and passed it out to him or called a timeout, then the Cavaliers might be sitting up 1-0, and we might be having a different conversation. But like Matt said, this is what happens in sports. Sometimes people make dumb decisions. Sometimes calls don't go your way. But the biggest person that was at fault to me was George Hill. You can't miss a free throw with that much pressure on you. You're an 81% free throw shooter. Do your job. You have one job. Make a free throw. That's what you got to do. You make a free throw. He makes that free throw. The Warriors call a timeout. Maybe it's another situation kind of like what happened to them against the Rockets. Steph Curry gets open in the corner. Maybe he shoots it. Maybe he misses it. Maybe he makes it. And we're going and we have a classic game one. And we had a classic game one. We had overtime. How many times can anybody say they experienced overtime in the finals? In a finals game. Like we had a good game that wasn't marginalized by calls because ultimately the Cavaliers screwed the Cavaliers. George Hill missed that free throw. LeBron James went 0 for 4. There's very important numbers that you need to remember from that game that just happened was one missed free throw and 0 and 4. LeBron went 0 and 4 in overtime. And that's what happened to the Cavaliers. They ran out of gas. And my prediction for game 2 is Warriors are gonna win. Warriors are gonna win in game 2, and like I said, the Cavs were not robbed. They just ran out of gas. Go ahead, Matt. Matt, you there?
I'll take it last.
All right. Go ahead, Amina.
Cavs were not robbed. I actually last night, well, actually not last night, early this morning, 3 hours in the morning, probably 2, 3 a.m. I actually rewatched the entire game and I watched it, and the Cavs actually got burnt out by the fourth quarter a little bit when I watched the game again and actually reflected on it. Their defense got dropped a little bit, and it caught up with them. And my guys smelt it, and they used it to their advantage. We won the game. They were not robbed. They robbed themselves. If you want to talk about the word rob, but we didn't rob them. The NBA didn't rob them. The refs did not rob them. They robbed themselves. On top of what J.R. Smith did, but that's a whole other question. Scenario. Cavs, they just fell through the cracks. They thought they had the game, and they didn't. Like, oops, thought you had it. No, you didn't. As far as who's going to win tomorrow, my guys, of course, we're on a mission. We're not letting any team, including the Cavs, come in that way. And my guys are winning tomorrow. I don't see why we would not. And we're going to Cleveland for games 3 and 4. So I expect to go into Cleveland 2-0. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't, but hey.
Go ahead, Matt.
Remember, you only have one job. You only have one stinking job. And for Cleveland, their job is to win game 2. Now, watch this. Are they going? If Cleveland wins game 2, then we have a series. If they don't, they're in trouble. So that's my position. Is game 2 will be Golden State. Honestly, number 1, 2. You have to. Well, you got to play the game. You got to play the game. You have. I love this game situational awareness. That's what you have to have. Never mind missing the free throw. You get the rebound. You got to put the thing back up. Especially if you're under 5 seconds, you have to put it back up. You can't sit there and reset. No, we ain't got time for that. Like Colin said, if you would have got the rebound and put it back up instead of went back, thinking you had time, we wouldn't be talking about this conversation. And we wouldn't be having this discussion and him being a meme. So, this is what you do. They have to redeem themselves for game 2. If they don't, series is over. Before the series is already over. If they don't win game 2. There, I said it. So my prediction is, if Cleveland wins game 2, we have a series. If Golden State wins game 2, series is over.
All right. So moving right along to our next select.
Sweep.
I did not go that far, and I will not go that far. If you want to go ahead and undermine LeBron James, that's your prerogative.
Sweep.
Listen, okay. So moving right along. All Eagles still get disrespected by sports media and NFL experts. Those of you that don't know, the power rankings were released by ESPN and the NFL, and the Patriots were number 1, and the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles were number 2. So I'm going to take it back. You want to go last, unless you want to go right now. Are the Eagles
Excuse me.
getting
Excuse me.
disrespected by sports media and NFL experts? Go ahead, Matt.
You never get disrespected. What kind of question is that? No, it's a, remember, Tom Brady is king. Tom Brady is, the man. Tom Brady is Tom stinking Brady. Tom terrific. Tom with the good hair. But I don't know what they're seeing. I don't know what they're looking at. Maybe it's denial. But last time I checked, the Philadelphia Eagles reloaded the gun and got better defensively. They got better offensively too by adding Mike Wallace to the receiving core. Yes, we don't have LeGarrette Blunt anymore, but we got a plethora of running backs that we can go to. I mean, Jay has emerged as the number 1. Now, I don't know if Daniel Pumphrey's on the roster, but for the Patriots to be number 1 and the Eagles to be number 2, it's downright disrespectful. It's okay. It's all right. Because you know why? To me, it makes me hungrier to get another championship. And that's okay. It's all right. Disrespect us if you want to. We're going to look. If they believe that we're number 2, fine. Let them. But I believe we're the other team. That's just facts.
Yo, Tom with the good hair. We're getting that.
Yo, that was hilarious. Yo, he's crazy.
Go ahead, Amina.
Tom with the good. Yo. um, Eagles. I don't see so much more. I don't see too much what Eagles fans will say disrespecting more towards the team. I see people actually, showing love towards them lately. As long as Tom Brady is still in the NFL, as long as the Brady, Belichick, and Kraft trio exists in New England, gotta admit, they'll always be ranked number 1 by ESPN, the NFL, all that jazz. Until he retires, concerning Tom Brady. Until Tom Brady retires, the Patriots will always be number 1 in the NFL. And it'll always be like that. Whether he retires now or 10 years from now. I don't see another team being number 1 in rankings other than them. It's just facts. I mean, he's the face of the NFL up until now, within the last 18 years since he got drafted. Can't argue with facts. Eagles, they're number 2. Okay. Try to be a number 1, but Patriots, they are number 1 rank wise every year, it seems. Hey. Patriots do what Patriots do.
Listen, usually I'd agree with you, Amina, but nah, these are defending champions. They just beat now.
The
Granted,
Patriots are gonna be number 1 regardless until he retires.
listen, I understand your point, and I agree with, and I wholeheartedly agree with your point that they should
As
be.
long as he's still in their number 12 jersey, as long as he's still suited and booted, his team is going to be number 1 regardless.
Listen, I agree that Tom with the good hair until he retires, they should be a top 2 team. But here's my argument: they should not be over the team that just beat them. What is it? It's June now. 4 months ago, going on 4 months ago. Matter of fact, exactly 4 months ago. You know, the Eagles. Now, granted, they narrowly beat, but the Eagles have never won pretty, and they didn't win pretty this past season. They beat them. So just by virtue of them beating him, the Eagles should be number one. Like,
It's not
okay,
gonna be that until he retires. I'm telling you.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, just because, listen, this is not a lifetime achievement ranking of NFL team. This is a power ranking. This is supposed to
I
be
know. I sent it to you. Remember?
what have you done for me lately? And if this is what have you done for me lately, truly and believably, then the Eagles should be number one, the Patriots number two. I don't really have a problem with the ranking. The only problem I have is the ranking of the Eagles. The Eagles should be number one. Like I just said a couple segments ago, to beat a man, you got to beat the man, and the Eagles beat the men. They beat the trio of Belichick, Brady, and Kraft. They beat the Patriots. They should be number one. That's all I'm saying. Like Matt said, the Eagles reloaded and they still getting disrespected. No players in the top 5 of the 20 of the 20 greatest players, and I'm pretty sure Carson Wentz is a top 5 QB, number 3, number 2 in the league, I believe. You know, he's a good quarterback. Malcolm Jenkins, you can't tell me Malcolm Jenkins isn't one of the best safeties in the NFL. You can't tell me Lane Johnson isn't one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. You can't tell me Fletcher Cox isn't one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL.
That's all true, but you gotta understand that for the last 18 years, since he got drafted in 2000, he's been the face of the NFL.
I'm sorry. I have to disagree with the fact that you don't give Tom DeFacto here a pass on the fact that
I'm not giving him no pass. I'm just speaking on the fact that he's the face of the NFL, and until he retires, they're always going to rank the Patriots number one.
He may be the pretty face of the NFL, which I don't give two shits about. But the point is simply this: Tommy with the good hair here, okay?
Tommy with the good hair now.
Got his butt kicked by the Eagles. Now, roster to roster, I believe wholeheartedly that the Eagles are a better team. I mean, the fact that basically the like Doug Peterson, I can't say he outcoached Bill Belichick, but it was blow for blow that game, blow for blow. But a lot of people don't think about this too. The way the Eagles won that game, then look at that Chip Kelly game against the Patriots in which the Eagles won that game. Okay, but we're not talking about games here. We're talking about rosters here. We're talking about who's better. The power rankings of what's going on right now. And we all know full darn well that the New England Patriots do not need to be number one. They probably need to be number 2 or number 3 at best. But you want, but come on now. Oh.
I'll check in with you.
Listen, like I said, the Eagles have continued to be.
You want the Patriots to be number 2? I got the perfect foolproof. Get him to retire, because until he retires, until that day comes, his team's always going to be ranked number 1, regardless. No matter who won or who didn't win, that team is always going to be ranked 1. Get him to retire and let the power rankings change. But until then, he's the face of the NFL for the last 18 years.
Listen, I thought
those are facts.
Brandon Graham retired him after he fumbled, but it is what it is. Listen, the Eagles are the number 1 team by virtue of the fact that they will put up a championship banner on September 1st, 2018. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. What's September 7th, September 6th, whatever that first Sunday is, they're gonna put a banner. They're gonna put a banner on the Eagles on Lincoln Financial Field. The Eagles are the number 1 team. Doesn't matter what ranking you have. The Eagles are the number 1 team in the league. They beat the best. They beat the man. The Eagles are the man. They're going to be contending for a Super Bowl again this year, and they will go back to back. I'm calling it down. So put it down. 3:35 Eastern Time. The Eagles are going to back-to-back Super Bowls this year. I don't know if it'll be against the Patriots, but they're going to the back-to-back Super Bowls this year. Why not us? Best roster in the NFC. Boom. All right, moving right along to the hot take. We're bringing the hot take back, and then we're going to get out of here. All right. So my hot take. why are we acting like there has not been super teams in the NBA before? Right? Um, like I said earlier, the NBA, this is nothing new in the NBA to have a super team. It seems like every 20 to 30 years we have a super team in California, whether that be the Lakers. Usually it's the Lakers, right? Whether it's been the Lakers or the Celtics. The Celtics and the Lakers have dominated as the sports almanac Matthew Mack said. Yes, as Matthew the sports almanac Mack said, for 20, 30 years, the Celtics and the Lakers had the death grip on the NBA. Then the Sixers came along. There's been rivalries. All those, the Lakers and the Celtics of the 50s, 60s, 70s, they were super teams. Anytime they had Bill Russell on the team, and Bill Russell was the best player at that era of the NBA. That was a super team. You know, he went to 12. So he went to 12 finals. I don't know if it was 12 straight, but he won 12 finals. You know,
He went to 12 and just lost one.
the the Bulls of the 90s, super team, Jordan and Pippen, two really good top 30 players, and then some role players, super team. The Celtics of the 60s, 70s with Bird, Havlicek, and so many more, McHale and others, super team. Lakers, the Showtime Lakers, super team. The Philadelphia 76ers with Malone and Dr. J, super team. You know, there are so
And
many
Tim
super
Duncan Spurs, too.
Tim Duncan Spurs, the Miami Heat, despite what a lot of you want to say, super team. There have been so many super teams in the NBA. Y'all need to understand that this is not the first super team, and it won't be the last super team in the NBA. It really won't. You know, there's going to be an era where two teams will dominate. It's what happened in the NBA. What did you? If you didn't complain, if you're an old school basketball fan, you in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and you didn't complain when the Lakers and the Celtics were going to finals for back-to-back years all them times, if you weren't complaining when the Bulls went to back-to-back finals, if you weren't complaining when the Heat went to back-to-back finals, you know, if you weren't complaining, why are you complaining now? If you don't complain when the Patriots have made 6 or 7 straight Super Bowls, what are you complaining about? There has always been super teams in basketball. Basketball is a sport about skill. It's not a luck-based sport like the NFL. Sorry to all you football fans. You know, the NBA is the ultimate sport where skill and talent win out over 5 to 7 games, over 4 to 7 games every year. And if you're tired of this matchup, you don't know basketball. If you say you're tired of super teams, you have not been watching basketball a long time. Because that's all in the NBA's history is. It's littered with super teams. This is not the first time where 2 top 30 players have gotten together, or 3 or 4, depending on how you feel about Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. This is not the first time where top talent has amassed in the state of California, or top talent has amassed in an Eastern Conference city. It really isn't. This is just, you know, where we are right now. This is the era of the super team, and it won't be the last time a super team rules in basketball or super teams. Know your basketball, stop complaining, enjoy what you're seeing. Just like my friend Matthew, the sports almanac Mac would say. I want to thank Matt. I want to thank Trey. I want to thank Amina for coming through. We're back at our regularly scheduled program. Like I said, we're going to have a big announcement, and the big announcement is, for this month at least, we're going to have some live shows now. The show, just to stop the confusion, the shows have always been live. But when I say live, I mean all of us who can and who are in the state coming together at a central location and doing a live show in one place together. Now the location is still TBD, but for the rest of June, Lord willing, we will have some live shows in one location together for those of us that are in the state. So definitely look forward to that for all you fans of the podcast. And we want to thank you guys, because we definitely have noticed that the support for this podcast has been increasing with every episode. So thank you for that. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and share it. like I said, thank Matt, thank me, that thank Trey for coming through. Keep us all in your prayers and in your thoughts. Thank you so much. And enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the first weekend in June. Deuces.